Welcome back to Halloween month. And now let's talk about a subject that we see all the time nowadays, found footage horror. Yeah, we see it everywhere now, especially since films like Paranormal Activity, Cloverfield, and the Blair Witch Project helped make the genre popular. But around the time Paranormal Activity and Cloverfield came out, there was one show that probably helped make the genre more popular. And it came from one of the most unlikely of places, Animal Planet. After it looked like this, but before it looked like this. And that show was Lost Tapes. Lost Tapes was an anthology found footage horror series where each episode featured a different monster as the main antagonist, and it scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Keep in mind, found footage wasn't as popular today as it was 10 years ago, so little Christian would be easily convinced that what he was seeing was real. But I couldn't get enough of it. I loved the thrill of being scared, even if it meant being scared of ever going into the basement. One of the advantages/disadvantages of Lost Tapes was the show's budget. You can tell it wasn't much, but for the first 2 seasons, the show for the most part used its limited budget to its advantage, using creative scenarios and filmmaking to let you know what creature you're supposed to be afraid of, while not showing too much. 2 really great examples of this were the episodes Vampire and The Monster of Monterey Bay. The costume they had for the vampire looks really cheap and silly, but when you film it like this, it actually looks pretty damn great. It's shaky enough not to expose the cheapness of the costume, but it's not too shaky to the point of being nauseating. Monster of Monterey Bay isn't shaky, but it ingeniously has a camera mounted on the main staff, looking over the entire boat, so when the creature swims under the boat, you're able to see it, while our lead character can't. But the cheapness could also be a hindrance to the show. Besides a few exceptions, whenever the show tackled flying creatures like cave demons or giant owl people, thunderbirds, and the Mothman and so forth, it would get so shaky to the point of not showing what we're supposed to be afraid of, or even worse, trying too hard to show us, resulting in the show looking cheaper than ever. And none of this was more noticeable than in Season 3. Good lord. Just like how you can tell that when the Paranormal Activity films started running out of ideas and were obviously rushed, you can tell this was the same with Season 3 of Lost Tapes. Not only do they show too much of these creatures, but when they do, it's so stupid to look at. Sometimes you get a good design like in the Wendigo episode, but even that can't save what was the biggest issue with Season 3. The characters are fucking morons. Whether it's just letting someone eat your arm and not shooting at them, leaving people behind even though they are in grave danger, or in the case of the Poltergeist episode, being a paranormal investigator, seeing something, and telling your co-investigators that you didn't see anything.
What is it?
Nothing. I guess it was my reflection in the window.
Dude, your job is to investigate things that aren't normal. Your coworkers are not gonna think you're crazy if you see something, because that's your fucking job. But even though Season 3 left a pretty bad taste in my mouth, both Seasons 1 and 2 overall still hold up today. Do they have some problems? Yeah, most of them do, but nevertheless, I'm going to give Seasons 1 of 2 of Lost Tapes a 7 out of 10, Season 3 a 3 out of 10, and when looking at Lost Tapes overall, I'm going to give it an okay 6 out of 10. Now if you're wondering, let me tell you my favorite episode, the episode that scared me the most, and the episode that I just think is the absolute worst. The worst episode is pretty tough. You have confusing and laughable messes like the Bear Lake Monster episode, the Strigoi Vampire episode, the Poltergeist episode, the Beast of Bray Road, but I'd say the overall worst episode is Q, the Serpent God. Not only are the characters morons in this episode, but this is the worst example of the show's low budget. You get every side of that spectrum. not seeing it fly, even though it's the size of a bus and you'd have to be an idiot not to get it on film, a terrible CGI shot of the creature, and by the end of it, it looks like a Disneyland animatronic. As for the scariest episode, I'll probably say it's the vampire episode. There are so many scenes that just penetrate any sense of safety. I still cannot face the wall when I'm sleeping. I have to be ready when those fuckers get me! It's not quite my favorite episode because when the boy sees something in his room, the security camera picks it up, and yet his parents don't check it for some strange reason. My favorite episode is a tough one, because there's a lot of great episodes. Vampire, Werewolf, Bigfoot, Deathcrawler, Devil Dragon, Megaconda, the list goes on. But I think the episode that still creeps me out, but overall holds up the best, is the episode The Monster of Monterey. The characters make smart decisions. The open ocean, or wherever that is a great place for tension, seeing as how she's just alone, and really no one can help her. And like I said before, that camera looking over the boat is absolutely genius. The episode makes the plot simple, easy to follow, and uses that to create a perfectly executed found footage horror, and is the shining example of what Lost Tapes was. So, have you seen Lost Tapes? I would check out watching it. Again, like I said, overall I think the show's just okay, but when the show is great, it's really, really great, and still terrifies me to this day. But again, there are also a lot of really dumb episodes that make me laugh my ass off. Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a like, share the video so we can get the channel circulated. Don't forget to support my Patreon on my Patreon page, or if you can't do that, consider donating through the PayPal donation button in the description below. And if you want to see more, click this.